People get very confused about the court cards, and for very good reason. If you're using the Rider-Waite deck, you're bound to be confused. And the reason is that A. Waite, the writer of the Pictorial Guide to the Tarot, deliberately confused and mixed up the meanings and the attributions of the court cards, so you wouldn't know really what you're talking about. This persists to this day, and it's very annoying to me. In contrast, I use the Book of Thoth, and in that book, in that set of tarot cards, Aleister Crowley correctly lays out the attributions and meanings of the court cards in a way that's logical and much more understandable. He applies that also to the names and titles of the cards. Now, both writers, Aleister Crowley and A. Waite, used a Golden Dawn document called Book T, and the T stands for Tarot. And in it lists the court cards and the minor cards and gives them their attributions. Also, the Book T gives each court card two titles, and one of them is the Knight or the Prince or something like this. And then there's also an extra title as well, which is a lot more florid and poetic. A. Waite mixed up those, and also he also called the princess cards pages. While princesses obviously refers to a young woman, pages is kind of nondescript and sort of a bit boyish. You think of page boys in a wedding, for example. So. So that's the basis of where I'm going from on all this, and it's to try and give you a structure to all the little talks, the videos I've done about the court cards, all 16 of them. So the first thing you need to know about the court cards is that there are 16 court cards, and they're grouped into the 4 elements. Okay, and in each element there's basically a nuclear family. We have the father, the mother, the son, and the daughter. Okay, so obviously a father and mother would be older, and the prince and princess are going to represent younger people. If you can understand that and get it fixed in your head, you're on the biggest way to understanding how the court cards work. Now, this is where it gets confusing. I'll try and take it slowly. I don't know the Rider-Waite system anymore. It does my head in, so I'm going to stick to a much simpler and better system used by the Thoth Tarot. Okay, so the fathers are always going to be knights, right? They're the knights. The mother is the queen. The son is the prince, and the daughter is the princess. So son and daughter, prince and princess, they're easy to do. Queen is obvious. The knight is not the king. Okay? Can't emphasize this enough. The knight is not the king. Now, the reason for this is to do with the symbolism of the court cards and whether they're sitting or standing. And basically, apart from the princesses, all the court cards are sitting down. Now, the queens are sitting on thrones, and the reason they're sitting on thrones is all to do with Bina, and it's also a kind of region of the cosmic heavens that's described by kabbalism. They're known as thrones. Now, you think that the consort of the queen is obviously the king, and he would be on another throne, but it doesn't work like that. And the reason is the knight is seated, as you think, on a horse. So a throne is passive, like water, because of what attribution of the queens is to water. The knight is fiery and active, and he is sitting upon a horse. And as you go through the court cards of the knights, you'll see that the characteristics of the horses change. For example, the Knight of Wands, the horse is leaping into up like this, rearing up, while on the Knight of Discs, the horse is very placid and basically munching some grass, pretty much, and it's a very much more agricultural kind of thing that's going on. So the princes are also mounted, but they're mounted on a chariot. A chariot is a moving chair pulled by horses, and so the prince is naturally partaking of the queen, the throne, and the chair, and the knight, who has the horses. Okay, so the princes are on a chariot, and he's taking the genetic kind of thing from father and mother, and that's why he has the knight. So 4 different versions of the knight. Princes, by contrast, they're standing up or moving or doing something else, but they're not sitting down. So that's kind of giving you a rough idea of where you are with the court cards as far as the elements are concerned. Now, in each element, I said the knight is, so in the elements of cups, there'll be a knight of cups, a queen of cups, a prince of cups, and a princess of cups. So the knight would be the fiery part of water, the queen would be the watery part of water, prince would be the airy part of water, and the princess would be the earthy part of water. And it's the same for all the other 4 elements as well. Now, there's also kabbalistic attributions to the court cards as well. And for that we have to look at the tree of life. The knights represent chokma, or the second chakra, right at the chakra. Not chakras, are they? They're sephirahs. So the knights represent the chokma on the right hand side as you face it, and the queens are on the other side in Bina. Okay? And below them they come down to Tipreth, the 6th sephirah, which is at the centre, and that is the prince. And then you go further down at the centre to Malkut, and the princess and then the princess is where you find them in Malkut as well.